At -20, the village disappears inside the storm. Then, something heavier than weather starts moving through it. You don't hear a roar. You hear silence get pushed aside. Snow swallowing sound, then weight rewriting it. This isn't a monster story. It's a calorie emergency with fur on it, and the clock is winter. Hokkaido, December 1915. Sankebetsu, a frontier village built from wood and straw, surrounded by white and trees. The huts are called chise. They block wind and eyes, not impact. A door latch is not a defense. A male Ussuri Brown Bear, Ursus arctos lasiotus, about 340 kilos, not fast like a cat, just unstoppable when it commits. The trigger was biology. Hibernation failed. He woke early, and the deficit wasn't hunger. It was a furnace without fuel. In deep cold, a bear's body burns energy just to stay warm. Every hour awake is expensive, and winter doesn't negotiate. He'd been injured before. A body that can't chase doesn't stop needing calories. It changes the menu to whatever is cheapest. And villages smell like stored life. Food, smoke, animals, people. In a blizzard, scent is louder than sight. The first warning didn't look like violence. It looked like a shadow testing distance, circling a hut, learning the shape of safety. When a predator decides a door is optional, every rule inside that home becomes imaginary. By evening, the storm covered tracks like an accomplice. The bear didn't need stealth, he needed timing. The Ota home was quiet. Only a woman and her infant inside. One impact. Wood flexes. The room shrinks. This wasn't rage. It was efficiency. Resistance ended fast, and the bear took the body that would feed him longer. He dragged the woman into the storm like cargo. Outside, the wind erased the only evidence that could have warned them sooner. At dawn, men followed the trail. They expected a kill. They found storage. Winter had turned the forest into a freezer. Caching is the detail people miss. Not a frenzy, a plan. Hide food under snow, return later, spend less energy tomorrow. Now the village understood. He would come back. And panic doesn't create good tactics. It creates predictable ones. They guarded the Ota house with armed men, expecting the return. But they moved women and children next door, thinking crowds mean safety. Bears don't see traps like humans do. They smell them. Oil, metal, sweat, fear. The air becomes a warning label. A hungry bear chooses the cheapest outcome, not the bravest, not the cleanest, the one that costs the least for the most meat. So he tested the guarded house, read the risk, and walked past it. Predators do that when they're thinking, not panicking. The real horror begins before impact, the approach. Footfalls muted by snow, a shadow that doesn't hesitate. Inside the Miyuka house, women and children waited near the hearth. They thought the storm was a wall. It was cover. What mattered wasn't screaming. It was wet breathing and wood under load. That's what 340 kilos sounds like indoors. The door didn't open. It yielded. The frame bent. Nails complained. Then the bear forced himself into the room. A bear this size doesn't need speed. It needs momentum over 2 steps. In a small room, 2 steps is everything. In the struggle, a pot hit the hearth. The fire smothered. The only light died. The room became pure sound and contact. You couldn't see him now. You could hear him, heavy breathing at arm's length and beams creaking under weight. When people freeze, the predator doesn't. He keeps moving until bodies become obstacles and obstacles become access. One woman bolted into whiteout. The snow cut her like glass, but she ran anyway. Survival became a signal. She reached the men guarding the wrong house. No speech needed. Her body delivered the report. The bear was inside. By morning, the village wasn't a village. It was broken wood, missing people, and tracks leading back into the trees. The bear didn't stay. He withdrew to his reserves. Winter caching turns one night into multiple meals. A starving bear can't afford a long hunt, but a hut is slow prey. That's the brutal equation. So humans brought in a different kind of predator, experience. A bear hunter who reads winter like the bear does. Heikichi Yamamoto refused at first. Then the village became proof. When the stakes change, hesitation stops mattering. Tracking in a storm is a race against erasure. You read depth, stride, direction, and the places a heavy body chooses to rest. They found him near the reserves, conserving heat and energy. Even after killing, he behaved like an accountant, not a demon. The first shot shut down the engine. Not drama, just anatomy. Stop the momentum, or the momentum stops you. Then the second shot ended it. In winter, mercy for a predator can become cruelty for everyone else. Afterward came the only honest question: why? And the answer was always inside the body, not in the legend. The stomach contents told the truth. Clothing, fragments, and human remains. Not symbolism. Evidence of a feeding-driven campaign. In extreme cold, caching turns violence into inventory. The bear didn't become evil. He became efficient under pressure. Quiet doesn't mean safe. It means measured. And sometimes the measured thing weighs 340 kilos and knows where you sleep. The storm didn't cause it. It hid it. Winter was the accomplice. Hunger was the motive. And wood walls were a lie. Comment the next animal for season 2, and I'll build the case. Nature isn't cute. Nature is a nightmare. Remember this: the first warning was never a roar. It was a heavy body moving with purpose in a world that couldn't see it. If you felt safe because you couldn't see it, that's the trap. In a blizzard, invisibility belongs to the biggest thing.